Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions.
The relationships. I can't tell you what the final scores were to the game. I can't tell you how many tackles that I had or whatever, because that's irrelevant.
Right.
But I can tell you the feelings and the emotions that came after each win, each loss, going on the bus rides to, Stephenville, Texas, these small little podunk towns. Like, that's what I enjoyed the most, and that's what I remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember what was said on that bus, but I remember how I felt on that bus.
Yeah, football's a religion back there.
100%.
It really is. It's amazing. So, so your favorite thing about going to Mansfield High School? What was your favorite thing?
Favorite thing there was being pushed both academically and physically.
Okay.
So in Oregon, I did not have good grades.
Okay.
I did not try in school at all, didn't care. And then I went to Mexico to visit some family the summer before. I came back, my dad had registered for classes. Little did I know, he registered me for all of the pre-AP and AP classes. He said, you're going to do it.
Dad,
I'm like,
go.
I'm like, what's this?
Oh, I love it.
I'm like, what is this? Like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And then ended up, turns out that I was actually better student than I thought I was.
Yeah.
And ended up riding that wave all the way through to the end.
That's
and
cool.
In Texas, traditionally your coaches are the teachers,
Yeah.
right? None of my coaches were any of my teachers. So I was there with some of, the brightest kids in my school. And then, okay, well, these kids now I need to compete on a different level. Not just physically, now I need to compete academically with all of these ones.
Yeah.
I wasn't, top of my class or anything. Did make it into the top 10% when I graduated. So that was fun. Knew that I was able to do it.
Yeah.
Just if I actually tried and did the commitment to it.
Well, it's confidence building, right? I mean, it's not just, hey, I'm good at hitting people, right? It's, I can actually solve these problems. I can figure this out. I can think my way through these things. Yeah. And that's a muscle, dude. That's as big a muscle as what you were working in the weight room,
Ironically, the only accolade that I received for football was making the academic all-state team.
That's cool.
My mom still has it framed up in her
Oh,
window.
yeah, she does.
That was it. So
yeah, she does.
When I gave her that was really cool.
Did you ever thank your dad for registering you in all AP classes?
Never have.
You should.
Yeah.
You should, because that's a big
should.
deal. That's a big deal. Well, it's your whole life is culture shocks.
Yeah.
Think about it, right? That was a culture shock for you, because now all of a sudden you're in a different pool that you're swimming in, right? Mm-hmm. It's a different water altogether. And yeah, I mean, it's, that's your dad having enough confidence in you to issue the challenge, and you accepted it and conquered it. That's cool, dude. That's a big deal. Okay.
Probably should call him.
So you graduate Mansfield.
Yep.
Then what?
Then it was off to San Diego State, and I applied to...
Okay, hold on. How did you end up in San Diego State from Mansfield, Texas?
All right, you want to know the truth?
I do. I want to know the truth.
I flipped the coin.
Did you really?
I flipped the coin. I applied to 2 schools.
Yeah.
Texas State and then San Diego State.
Texas State. Why Texas State?
A lot of my high school friends were going to go
Oh,
there.
okay. So you were going with the gang. Okay.
One of my best friends, still to this day, I thought we were going to be rooming together at Texas State, and then we were playing racquetball with another buddy, and then the other guy tells my buddy Ronnie, he goes, "Hey, did you, sign the dorm papers yet?" And I'm like, "What? I thought we were going to room together."
Yeah.
So then he's like, "Oh yeah, Mark, I didn't have the heart to tell you, but I don't want to room with one of my best friends." So I'm like, "All right, cool. I'm going to go to San Diego State."
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Flip the coin.
So that just absolutely, oh, wow, that's cool. That's interesting how that happened.
Didn't visit the city, didn't visit the school, never been to San
So
Diego.
you hadn't been to San Diego? Mm-mm. Wow.
I told myself I'll give it a year. If I don't like it, I'll make adjustments.
Yeah.
I'm a gypsy. Moving around
was
easy for me.
It sounds like that's sort of your way of doing things, right? Is you don't necessarily shy away from taking chances or taking risks. No. You just basically say, I'm going to go give it a shot, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I learn something.
Yeah. And the way that I see it is my mom and dad both emigrated to this country. Yeah. Like, they took a shot. You know, they were almost 30 when they moved here.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? If they did it, they had the courage to go, then what's holding me back?
Where's your mom from in Mexico?
State of Jalisco.
Okay.
Small town called Jalostotitlan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. That's really cool. Okay. So you go to San Diego State. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, let's talk about this. So you decide to go to San Diego State. You come out here. Yeah. What's that like?
Remember when I used culture shock?
Yeah, I was expecting you to say something like that.
Yeah, so again, seems to be the commonality here. It's coming out, and funny enough, one of the people that I first met in college, still one of my best friends to this day.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me.
Like, still, so...
You're all about relationships, and that's one of the coolest things about you. And I know that that's a big strength for you in real estate, too. Yeah. So you come out here, culture shock, right?
Yep.
What's it like?
It was everything that I thought it would be, because I had this vision in my head. You know, I ended up getting into the Greek life, joined a fraternity, because I was still looking for that sense of, you know, community and team. So, and I rushed the first house that I really went to because I formed a pretty strong bond with a couple of the people that were there.
Okay.
And then, next thing you know, I'm now pledging a fraternity, and it turned out to be just like in the movies. Yeah. Which some of that stuff we will leave off of this podcast.
Yeah, we will, actually. Yeah, we will. So, this one's rated clean, I think I told you.
Perfect.
So, so you're here 4 years? Did you go to school 4 years?
Yeah, did 4.5.
4.5.
I did a study abroad trip to Cuba. So that was...
I bet that was interesting. How long were you in Cuba?
It was only for a month.
Okay.
That I was there, because that was part of my major requirement was to study, because I'd got my degree in international relations and conflict resolution.
Okay.
Because I thought I was going to go into either work for the government, either the Foreign Services Office, or go into Homeland Security.
Yeah.
Because they had the master's program at State.
Right.
But then graduated, you know, money started running out. I'm like, okay, I need to figure something out.
Amazing how that works.
Yeah. Which we'll get into that later, but it eventually led me into a career in real estate.
Yeah. Okay. So you graduate with, and you said international studies, right?
Yep.
Okay. So a degree in international studies. Then what happens?
So then after I graduated, I bounced around, moved back to Texas, actually. Took a job in the oil and gas industry.
Really?
Did that for...
What made you do that?
So one of my great friends in high school, her dad owned an oil and gas exploration company, and he's been trying since I was like a sophomore. He goes, Mark, you need to come out here and work for me. Just drop out of college. Just come work. I said, if I drop out, it's going to kill my mom.
Yeah.
I said,
we're not doing that.
Oil and gas will be there by the time I graduate. Let me get this. I'm already in. I'll finish.
That sounds like something your mom might say.
I know.
Right? Oil and gas will be there.
that woman's voice lives in here. Yeah.
I love it, man. That's cool.
Yeah, so then I was there for about 8 months, and my second day on the job, this is January 2016.
Okay.
My buddy flew out, the one who was supposed to room with me at Texas State, never did. So he flew out, and we packed up everything in my car that wouldn't fit, a little 93 Toyota Camry, and we drive back out to Texas.
Yeah.
Made it in a day, get there, and then the second day on the job, the other owner of the company comes in and he goes, guys, we're going to get through this. And I'm just thinking, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean? And then oil at the time was $26 a barrel.
Right.
18 months prior to that, oil was at $104 a barrel.
Yeah, it was.
So it was a significant decrease. And here I am calling people, asking them to invest in oil and gas when I'm either getting yelled at, hung up. They're like, Mark, I just lost $250,000 with you guys. You think I'm going to invest again? And I'm like, yeah, buy the dip.
Right.
I'm 22 years old. What do I know?
Right.
I know nothing. And then did that 8 months consistently for 12 hours a day, just calling. Did not do a single trade. But I said, you know what? I will not quit until I get something or until they fire me.
Right.
And their business model was the same as the stockbrokers. First 90 days, if you don't get a trade in, you're done.
Yeah.
You're out of here. But because of my relationship and like I put in the effort, did the things, like I was making 300 outbound calls a day, starting at 8 a.m. calling the East Coast, and I would stay in the office until 9 p.m. calling Alaska because of the time difference. Did that for 5 days a week. And I'm driving back and forth because I subleased a room on the campus of University of North Texas, which was 30 miles away from my office. Wow. So here I am driving 90 minutes each way to a job I hate in a cubicle, and I'm just thinking, I really left the house in Pacific Beach living in San Diego for this?
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I signed a lease for 9 months. I'm going to stick this out. But then halfway through that, the summertime, the partners had a falling out of the owners. The guy who I went to work for left the company. So I said, you know what? My loyalties are to him. They're not to this company. He's out.
So the girl's dad left.
The girl's dad, yeah.
I got you.
Yep.
Okay. The one who had been trying to recruit you for years, drop out of college, come work in oil and gas, right?
Yeah. So then I said, you know what? He's gone. I'm gone. So I texted my buddies. I said, hey, is that room still available? Did you guys, rent it out? Like, no, it's still available. I said, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Came back. Now I'm 23 at the time and trying to, make some money. What do I do?
Right.
I took a job as a FedEx driver during the day, worked in the gym at night.
There you go.
And then while I was in the gym, I started meal prepping a lot. And then these other people in the gym, they're like, hey, if we pay, you can meal prep for us. I'm like, all right, well, there's an idea.
Yeah.
So then I started a meal prep service out of my kitchen with my roommate.
Wow.
Turned out I hated cooking.
Oh, really?
I hated cooking this. We were just not fun. Loved the business aspect of it.
Yeah.
And we were cooking a couple hundred meals out of our kitchen a week.
Wow.
So we got it.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And then we realized, we don't want to be chefs.
Okay.
So then we kind of just dissolved that and kind of went different ways. And then I took an internship on a political campaign because I'm like, what do I like? Like, I really like politics.
Yeah.
So then.
Well, you had been thinking about working in government anyway, so.
And it was right around the 2016 election, just ended, so the midterms were starting in 2018.
Okay.
It's like, all right, maybe I can get onto a local race here in the San Diego area, but I had no experience. I didn't have any background. I didn't have any connections politically. All my friends were, 22 years old. What connections do they have?
Yeah.
So then I went on Indeed and found this internship that was an unpaid campaign internship for a small city council race.
Okay.
So I applied and I took it.
Okay.
And then met with the candidate, and we talked. It was supposed to be like a 30-minute conversation. Turned out to be like 3 hours.
Amazing.
Jumped in the car, and he showed me around the
We've had
district.
conversations like that, you and me.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So 3 hours. Okay. You get in the car, you start driving around.
Yep. And that conversation changed my life.
Wow. How?
It led me to ultimately a career in real estate, and still to this day, that candidate has been one of the greatest influences in my life.
Okay. How?
So we ended up going on the campaign. We didn't end up winning. But then he said, Mark, I see a future for you in real estate. I have a couple real estate companies here in Chula Vista. I think you do really well in this profession.
Okay.
The time I'm 24, I'm like, all right, what do I got to lose?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. If I don't like it, I'll keep looking out doing something else.
Well, yeah, but like we talked about before, that's kind of been your philosophy, right?
Yeah.
I'm either gonna win or I'm gonna learn.
Right.
It's a really healthy way to look at things.
Those are the only two options.
So you take the leap.
Yep, took the leap. They hired me on as their assistant for their team.
Yeah.
I was a terrible assistant.
Yeah.
6 months. They're like, Mark, you know what? You're great, but we feel as though you're better in a different position.
Okay.
So then they moved me over to their other companies and kind of did business development for them. And then I'm doing that for about 10 months.
Okay.
But I'm still involved in the real estate industry. I'm interacting with all these realtors and lenders, seeing how they operate, seeing how they think. And I'm like, I can do what they do.
Yeah.
Like, what they do is not difficult, and you don't have to be anything special to be successful in this industry.
There you go.
So then I said, you know what? I'm going to get my license. And I told him, I said, I'm getting my license, but I'm also going to leave for 3 months because I'm going to go to Southeast Asia on a backpacking trip before I make a deep dive into this. And they're like, okay, yeah, everybody says they're going to get their license and then leave and they don't come back. So got the license, left, came back January, and I said, all right, I'm ready to go. What do I need to do and how do I do it?
So where did you backpack?
So went to Philippines, Bali, Thailand, Cambodia, and there's another one. There's 5 countries. Vietnam.
Wow. What was that like?
Culture shock.
Yeah,
No,
kind of.
It was great. Like, I love to travel. One of my current things that I have to do is go to 3 new countries every year.
Okay.
And that's just kind of like my eye-opening experience of the rest of the world, like getting to see how people think, how people interact, because the more you know about a different culture, the easier it is for you to do business with them.
Oh, sure.
And that has been because most of my clients over the years, most of them immigrants.
Okay.
Most of them from different parts of the country or different parts of the world.
Okay.
And I think it was my experience of traveling, international relations, that allowed me to effectively communicate with these individuals and to build a connection with them because, at the end of the day, that's in the relationship business.
Well, you're good at connecting anyway. I mean, you're really good at the relationship thing. But that probably is another layer on top of it. So that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
So you go backpacking for 3 months, have a great time, come back, and you get your license.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Where do you go?
I joined the same team that I was the assistant for
Oh, okay.
the Zaker group.
Okay.
Yep. I was with Max and Claudia Zaker. Shout out Max and Claudia.
Yeah.
I was with them.
We're in their office, by
They
the
were in
way.
their office, by the way. I'm still with them,
Yeah, we're in their studio.
Fast
right?
forward 7 years later.
Yeah.
It was just funny. Just in August, I just texted Max. I'm like, and I showed him a photo. I'm like, hey, Max, here's the first text you sent me 7 years ago.
Wow.
From the let's meet up at the Agave Cafe.
No,
So when I said
wow.
that conversation changed my life, I mean, if it wasn't for that conversation, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today.
Yeah.
And then 2019, started selling, and it was my 5th day as a realtor. Did my first open house. I sold that house.
That's awesome.
Somebody came in.
That's very rare, by the way. For those of you that don't know, that's very, very rare.
That's what everybody keeps telling me.
I'm serious, man. There's listen, NAR will tell you a very small percentage. I think it's 3 or 4% of the people that come into an open house actually buy it.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly rare.
Yeah, and I was completely transparent with the couple. They came in, they're like, Mark, we love this house. We want it, but we have to sell our townhouse in order to be able to afford it. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Listing and a buyer.
Sure.
So I go into Claudia's office on Monday. I'm like, hey, I have a listing appointment. Somebody who wants to buy and sell this house. They're like, yeah, sure you do. And I'm like, no, it's 5 o'clock on Tuesday. Like, what the heck do I do?
Right.
So she's like, oh gosh, okay. So then we go. She comes to the listing appointment with me. We get the listing. She gets it done. So my first transaction as a realtor, front and back was $1 million.
Wow.
600 purchase, 400 sell.
Good job.
So in the first
awesome.
34
And you said
days,
5 days in, right?
5 days in.
Yeah.
I think I started January 14th was my first day that I signed on officially with the brokerage.
We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.